In 2025, I sold over $1 million worth of product on Amazon, and this is episode 19 of me scaling my business to $3 million in 2026. Before we get into it, if you guys haven't subscribed to the newsletter, link is in the description below. I give free game once a week on Wednesdays teaching you how to start or scale your Amazon online arbitrage business. And for this week's episode, we're going to talk about how the second week of May went and just give you guys a rundown of everything, how I came back from the Miami Seller Conference, and then, past that, my takeaways from the conference itself, and then also what I was working on while I was in Miami, and then how everything was when I landed back home. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so jumping into the second week of May here, you guys can see that we bought a total of 490 units, about $45 ACOG and 78 ASP. So the stuff that we were buying this week was a lot more expensive for whatever reason. We are up to a total of 138 unique ASINs on the month so far. These were bought at a 30% ROI, 17% margin. Estimated sales is around 38K on that inventory, 21,000 in spend, and then we also have a on hold total of $42,199. So that's essentially why the units and everything looks so low for this week, is because I'm guessing by the time that my sourcer had put all this information into our sheet, stuff was pending and not quite shipped yet. So this should all, ship out throughout the week, and we should be seeing a big difference once next week comes around. And then the profit on just the small spend that we were able to pump out, that's guaranteed and already fulfilled, is about $6,500. Okay, so that leaves us with our net profit sitting at about 17,000 on the month, and our net margin at about a 13.379, which is pretty solid, especially considering that we have a lot of spend that hasn't been successfully pushed through yet, but it will definitely happen by next week. Next, we're going to dig into the payouts here, so you guys can see we are up to a total of 110K in payouts, pretty much halfway through the month. So pretty good. That's like pacing right around with what we've spent so far. So definitely a good thing to see there, and that our cash flow is literally still operating off of like mainly cash. Definitely gives me a lot of confidence with just how fast I'm turning my inventory over. So let's go ahead and jump into the Google Sheet, and I'll show you guys where we're at for total spend on the month and how that compares to our projections. All right, so on the Google Sheet here, you guys can see that we still have a spend goal of about 200K this month. Realistically, this should actually be about 250K. That's like more so what I'm aiming for this month, because that's what we did last month. But just off of the 200K spend goal that we have here, you guys can see that I've spent about $70,000 so far on the month, which is a little bit behind. Granted, we have 42K in pending that is not being counted towards this total. So if that goes through, you guys can see where I got that 110K in estimations number. So we are actually going to be way higher than the amount of spend that we need to produce, at least for a spend goal of 200K. For a spend goal of $250,000 this month, we're likely right on pace. So that's a good sign. Estimated sales about 126K, profits at about 22K. These are gross. And then gross margin is 17.5%. with a gross ROI of about 32%, which is actually pretty accurate, I think, to where we are at on Sellerboard currently. So that's actually good to see that our numbers are looking pretty accurate there. And then everything you guys already saw in the net projections was on the Google Doc. So we'll go ahead now and jump into Sellerboard so that I can show you guys essentially what we actually sold through this week and like the hard numbers behind that. All right, so jumping into Sellerboard here, we can see that I sold over 100K this week, which is good because that means we're going to be hopefully pacing for our first 400K revenue month. That's kind of what I'm aiming for this month. That's where I want to be. So looks like it was about an 18% margin just gross based on like this net profit to revenue ratio. You can see we had 84 refunds, which is I think a lot lower than what we've been having lately. Yeah, so 4% refund rate, which is really, really good. 18% margin flat. Okay, so this was a really good week for me. Hopefully this can continue into the coming weeks, because obviously I would love to keep my refund rate at 4% and net margins at 18. I guess these aren't net, but gross margins. So now we'll go ahead, total up some of the overhead that I've spent just in the week 2 of May here, and then I'll start breaking down some of the net profit and net margins for you guys. All right, so you guys can see on screen here that we had about $5,000 in overhead this week, and that's just between prep costs and the team and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and subtract that from the net profit here. You can see we finished at about a $13,501.50 in profit for this week. So then if we go ahead and take that number and divide it by the revenue that was produced for the second week of May here, we can see that I had about a 13.2 net margin, which is really good. I want to be around a minimum of 10%. Healthier margin for me is like 11, 12, and then higher is definitely like 13% plus. So really like to see that. Very, very solid numbers there. So now that you guys have seen the breakdown of the numbers and everything for this week, let's go ahead and get into how my opinion of Miami Seller Conference was, because I think that'll be an interesting talking point. And then also like how the business ran when I was in Miami, what stuff did I feel like I learned from either the conference or just being away from the business for a bit, since I have been sort of really locked in past, few months. So time to break down all that stuff, and we'll jump into that next. Okay, so jumping in, so I was in again Miami for MSC for about half the week, and here's some things that I was working on. First, I was able to finalize the software stuff that I was working to finish last week. Did a lot of improvement to the replenishment system, and now it's fully functional. We're just kind of waiting for refunds to come in as they do. We're giving that about 2 weeks to let all that stuff, paginate and update into our system, and then we should be able to see refund rate for each item that's sold, and then also an overview of like what's ready for a restock, what needs to wait, everything like that. And I plan to give this off to my main sourcer so that he can do all the sourcing for me. He already handles some sort of like restock, so he just has to familiarize himself with the user interface. And then I eventually want to use that as leverage to start training him on how to actually forecast, because most of our software already does that now. But if he can understand the psychology behind it, then eventually when he starts actually buying independently, not with my, go ahead, then he'll be able to actually sit down and take a look at, how am I going to base quantity and purchasing for this type of product here. And next, I had some time to touch base with the newer hires and realize that they are struggling this month with sourcing, which is kind of odd because they did fine last month. But I simply think it's because I'm having them source too rigid. So their framework and KPF filters right now are very like cookie cut, 50 plus a month, like just, the generic stuff. So that framework was good to test their ability to learn and like show some grit and determination to actually getting better. But now I think I need to let them be a little more free with sourcing. So I'm expecting to give changes there soon and essentially just work with them on like how to do advanced analysis so that they're not missing out on a bunch of opportunity. And yeah, so we're going to expand the horizons with them. In all honesty though, not a huge priority to do that because again, the leads that they find are very lower leverage. They're obviously important because they still fulfill a very important role in the company, but the biggest leverage is stuff that like I source or my main VA sources. So I do understand something will need to change, but right now, just with like where things are at, it's not the biggest priority on my list. I'm going to be talking about what a bigger priority on my list is coming up. So we'll get into that next. But before we go ahead and get into that stuff, I do want to give you guys some lessons, I guess, that I learned and stuff that I was already pretty conscious of, but just some feedback that I can give you guys. So after coming back from MSC, I definitely realized that my business and I are moving along just fine. I personally think networking is a great time to connect with others in your industry and just meet people in general, right? I don't really like to look at networking from a transactional standpoint. I kind of just like to be in the room, get like a feel for the air, be around people that are, doing similar things as me and just happen to meet good people while I'm there. But the things I believed that were going to move the needle forward in my business before I went to the conference and after is effectively the same. Again, because I don't look at networking from this massive transactional, output, because it's really it never goes like that. Everyone's there for their own reasons. Everybody has people they do want to talk to and meet, and everyone's there to just kind of be around other people. As I'm sure most of you guys know watching this, right, being around people that do the same thing as you and meeting them in person is a very slim chance, and that's kind of why you buy things like this, the tickets, to have access simply to people. So I kind of already knew all the problems and bottlenecks in my businesses, or in my business I should say, and I don't really think that there was much I could have asked somebody to where they could have given me a second opinion on something. However, I did have great conversations with people. There was a lot of, good ideas and good conversation shared, but my viewpoint as to what's going to get me to, pretty much 4 to 5 million this year, and then hopefully eventually at 10 million, is just going to be keep doubling down on what works. And then once we become stuck somewhere, then we have to pivot and figure out what's going to be the next way forward. That's kind of just how business is as a whole, right? So I know that more reinvention on systems, my team, and continuing to spend money on what moves the needle the most for us is what's going to get this business to where it's got to go. The money is really all in the boring stuff, unfortunately. You probably already know most of your problems, and it's just up to you to actually fix them. I think that's definitely a hack as well. When it comes to dealing with stress, I've seen something like a clip on Instagram of like Jeff Bezos saying, how does he handle stress? Literally the same thing that I think about, to where it's like you only stress over stuff that isn't done or that you're not doing. So if you just start doing things, stress becomes a lot easier to manage. And not only that, you are really the person who knows all the problems. And as you just continue to get better and systemize things out, you should be able to pass problems off to other people, make them into solutions, and essentially find bigger problems to tackle, right? If you're not tackling problems, then you're not growing. So it's all part of the game, and I think you should just do it and get the things that you need to get done finished, right? So MSC was cool. It was a great time. Good time being in Miami. I think being around that environment was definitely impactful for just envisioning more for myself, right? and realizing that there's still a lot more left to tackle. But I'm definitely at the point in, I guess an entrepreneurship journey and just growing this business into something way bigger than I thought I was going to be able to grow it into even a year ago or 2 years ago. That, the reason I work is not just to buy fancy stuff or dumb shit or, anything like that. It's more so just because I actually enjoy building and I enjoy something that is, fulfilling in that aspect. And I think this business is very reflective of just something that I enjoy doing and seeing progression over time. Because I don't really think, buying things is really the fun part. Even though it's the reward, I feel like it's actually just in the work and in the process. And if you can find a way to make it more about the process and less about the outcome, working just becomes one, so much easier, two, so much more enjoyable, and three, it just makes everything a lot better overall, right? Like you actually start pushing yourself harder than you did before. Because while I do think materialism drives a lot of people and like other, selfish or unselfish reasons, I think a big part of what can actually drive people to work without insane amounts of pay is just purpose and passion behind something. So if you guys can get to that state and that flow state in your business, I think it's very awesome, to be honest. Like I came back and I was like, wow, I feel like I already knew all the answers that I needed before I even left. And that's a great feeling because I wake up and I literally know what I'm doing every day. So very fulfilling stuff and everything like that. And then touching on things that I want to work on for next week, biggest goal that I have in mind is to get the ball rolling on repricing. So now that I'm back home, it's been way too long since I've had somebody help me with my repricing. My very first sourcing VA, who is no longer with me anymore, he actually used to do all of my repricing back last year, which is not a smart thing that I did back then. He didn't have enough context to be able to do that, but he actually did fine. So I don't know why I've been pushing this off so much with my best guy right now, but we're going to start taking time to train him up on this. And that was a big goal that I wanted to tackle right when I came back from the conference. So just going to start hammering it out and just start working towards it. So, right. And with all that out of the way, that is going to concede episode 19 of the series. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this up until this point. It's been a lot of fun making these videos and just kind of showing you guys like how much the growth has been over the year and just a lot of the struggles and reality behind trying to scale a business very aggressively and everything like that. So with all that out of the way, that's going to end off today's video. Again, check out the link in the description if you want to sign up to my newsletter. Totally free. Give good game on there, and I think it would be worth your time. And that's going to be all from me in this one. So I will see you guys next week for episode 20. So peace out.